up, though? Facebook, YouTube, and all my good people. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your schedule today to spend time with Noodles. You could be anywhere else, but you decided, you know what? I know when Noodles brings like-minded people onto his show, we're going to walk away better than we were before we tuned in. You know, I have in the studio with me today some like-minded brothers. And I share this with everybody because if you got a relationship with God, when you talk to him on a regular basis, which I do daily, it's all about God. Keep me around like-minded people. Bring like-minded brothers and sisters in my pathway. And more so, bring the ones that look like me because I'm unapologetically black. Okay? And I say that for a reason because it's about our community. So guess who I got in the studio, y'all? I got one of the hottest promoters in the city of Detroit. I got my man, Darryl West, better known as Big West Entertainment. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing good. Thank you, brother.
You know what, man? It's always an honor. I enjoy having you on my show. You've been a previous guest. It's always a relaxed environment. I always want to make sure my guests are good. But you know what I also have, and before we get into the question and answer, and it's just some housekeeping rules that I just must cover. If you're checking me out by scanning QR code, takes you to YouTube, I also want you to subscribe to my channel. Okay? Do that for me. There's a reason for that. Because, see, unity is not just in the black community, but it's also via social media. Story for another day, because I'm going to teach you about financial literacy, because that's coming down the pipeline as well. That part. So I have in the building with me a gentleman that, if you are well aware of your current events and, you reside in the D, you understand that, this man has been on a mission, been on a journey. And I got the opportunity. We were downstairs in the lobby and I met him. And I said, you know what, bro, I want to share something with you. You encouraged me. I said, I'm that brother that, you get done with your day, you go home, you check out the news, and you got to make sure you understand what's happening around you. I hear a lot of people today say, man, I don't watch TV. I don't listen to the radio. I just say, okay, bro, that's you, sis, that's you. But this guy right here, Noodles, I got to understand what's going on around me. I have the pleasure of having Mr. Charles E. Brooks Jr. in the building with me. How you doing today, sir?
Everything's blessed, no complaints.
That part. And guess what? You got an added bonus.
Yes, sir.
I got his young king, his son, Mr. Charles Edward. How you doing, young man?
And I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. That's what's up. See, y'all, the energy in this room ain't nothing but positive. And I always tell people, you come on my show, be who you are. Be authentic. Don't be something that you're not. You talk how you want to talk. Why? Because I look around the room. I don't see nobody with a pacifier around their necks. That means we all grown folks up in here. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
That's why when you spend time with Noodles, you be who you are. So with all that being said, let me handle some business here. I've been rocking with this one guy. We got ties to Ford Motor Company. Good UAW brother. One of the hottest promoters in the city of Detroit. You know what? I may have to, do a little negotiating with my friend here. Because you know what? D West, Big West Entertainment, he has a flavor to spending time with Noodles. He's a busy guy, I'm a busy guy. You see, when God drops an assignment on you, you follow through with it, you'll be amazed at what doors open. So with that being said, Derek West, we got to work something out, baby. You might have to join me at least two, 3 times a month. We're going to make it the Noodles and Big West show, and we're going to flip, and we can make it the Big West and Noodles show, because we both don't have egos. You feel me? Right?
At all.
And I know the people love you. People follow you. Right? So let me ask you this, bro. I said, everybody in the D knows what you do. You bring out the crowd to a Big West Entertainment event. People follow you, bro. You show a whole lot of love to people. I mean, when I tell you, I sit back and I study people, and it's more than discernment. Well, can you beat discernment? Maybe not. But it's also people's energy. And too often, especially nowadays, we're dealing with people that just want to be takers. They want to take from the table. They want to bring no resources. I always tell people, bring more than a knife and a fork to the table when you sit down with me.
Gotta believe it.
You feel me? Because get down and talk business. I've been there. I've been to the mountaintop of understanding business. But my story is for another day. It ain't about me. But you know what, though, D? I gotta say this, man. Many people follow you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm serious when I say this. And I'm gonna tell you before I gotta preface, before you ask a question, you gotta set it up. You gotta set the duck up right.
Preach, brother.
So, man, you ever thought about getting involved in politics in the city of Detroit?
Not really.
Some of you might want to pray on and marinate on. Dear, here's why I say that. And this is real talk, man. I'm not one into either political party. Why? Because I feel you can't box me in.
There we go.
And that's what's happening in politics. Story for another day. We're going to cover that. But God just wanted me to plant that seed with you. He wanted me to plant that seed with you, bro, because I know how genuine you are. I know how your heart is. I know what you stand for. And you know what? We need people in office that keep it real, that ain't about egos.
Right.
You connected me with the great brother sitting next to you, baby. Come on now. Okay, God said keep it moving. All right, we're going to do that. So I got to ask you this question, bro. You got quite a few events coming up. Take your time. We got plenty of time because Mr. Brooks is gone.
Yeah, but he gonna close.
He gonna close the show out. I'm gonna give him so much time to just relax and be himself. I'm just letting him know
Wanted to close the show out.
that part, baby. That's why I had to hit you first. So what you got coming down the pipeline?
Okay,
Big
first of
West
all-
Entertainment.
First of all, I want to say I'm here with two of the smartest brothers that I know. Darryl Nolen from Spending Time With Noodles and Charles E. Brooks. Y'all are geniuses. I study y'all too.
Wow.
Like you say, you study people. I study both of y'all. I studied you before you even know who I was.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I publicly accept that.
As you was negotiating, you was doing your thing.
That's right, baby. God took me highest level of negotiations.
Yeah, he's the
International Union. I'm a brother from the bottom, baby.
right.
I tell people, young Charles, I say, hey, I got a Tupac story. So he right. We start on that assembly line. He do this thing. That's right.
Been studying him. Okay. Because at one time I was committee man, backup committee man, right?
Okay.
And everybody was like, "Well, you should run for committee. You can run for committee." But for me to do that, I would have to step on some people's toes, right? To do that,
Of course.
make a long story short. And I was like, "No, I ain't gonna do that. I'm straight. I'm good." Because I was already doing other stuff on the side. I knew I wasn't going to be 30 years in the plant. I already knew that because I had the entrepreneur that I wanted to work for myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So eventually, that's what I did. I've got Big West Entertainment now. I'm off and running.
How long have you been in the promoting game, if I may ask?
That's about, I'm 29, 30 years.
Man, this guy got seniority not only at Ford, but he got seniority in the promoting game. That's major. That's why you receive the love that you receive, bro. That's why what I love about your style of promoting is, and it's a page I took out of your book when I was doing them comedy shows.
Yeah.
And I would always say I got to sing, and I ain't created. I can't take credit for it. I'm here, I'm there, I'm somewhere everywhere. Why? Because you can't hit a moving target. That's how D West is. Whenever there's a D West event coming up, y'all, just follow him on Facebook because you're going to find him somewhere at this spot, that spot, supporting Black-owned businesses.
Everybody.
That part, baby. Yes, sir. You know what? So, hey, I want to thank you, man.
No problem.
What else? So hold on. What events we got coming up? We got to answer that question.
I got the April 26th. I got an event. It's like a private event though. Is that live? Over where you was at, Illinois, Q spot.
Oh,
I guess it's like a private event. Birthday.
shout out to Q. What else?
Hey, if you what up, Q?
Live in Detroit, Avenue of Fashion.
Black on.
That part, baby. Hold on. What's that date again?
April 26th.
Is that on a Saturday?
Yep.
You know what? Guess what? I think Noodles will have to be in the building. Because I was there for the grand opening, and it was so good to see a lot of our like-minded brothers and sisters I ain't seen back in the day. So you got that popping, right?
Got that popping. And then this Saturday is a blues concert at Focus Hope. Southern Soul Blues concert. And we got a special on the tickets. It'll be 2 for $75. They was $65 a piece, but we dropped the price. The closest to get to an event. And we got 5 artists, and we got Big Gibba, the Goodie Bob. He's gonna be there too. at Focus Hope Saturday.
Big Gib with a goodie mob, baby, from the ATL.
So Saturday, if anybody needs tickets, contact Derek West on Facebook, Big West Entertainment, and you can get tickets 2 for $75. You can't beat that deal because you're going to be up and close and personal with the artist. You can't beat that. That's this Saturday at 7 o'clock at Focus Hope, 1400 Oakman off Linwood. So I beat that deal.
You got them fans out, baby. Them fans.
And I got them saying they can sit me up. Yeah, they coming.
The fans gonna be in the bus.
They're in the building.
But
It's going slow, but we trying to increase the so people can get in there and network.
see, that's what I love. Because you know what, D, you said something. You said, I understand the certain economic conditions and my people. I'm willing to, let's say, cut the price as a promoter.
Yeah.
To get more people in. See, that's love, baby. That's you understanding people's situations. Yeah. We're living in the matrix right now. That's how I claim it.
100%.
And that's why I get down with a promoter like that.
And this is the thing, when you give events, when you're a promoter, the first thing you got to look at is the economy. But how the economy look at? Then you look at is any other events going on, because you don't want to give a cabaret the same day as street concerts. Because ain't no people don't say so. You got to do your homework. You got to sit back, study, and do your homework.
So some of the acts that you have coming up for this pre-Easter event, Goody Mob, you said.
Yeah, you got
who else is coming?
A lady Lacey. You got what's another artist they got? They got Big Yayo and Stacey Adams. We got some good Southern Soul blues artists from the South. And like as you can see, the Southern Soul is sweeping the country. Now it came up Midwest, boots on the ground, Tony Armani Country Girl. So it's gonna the concert gonna be nice, man.
Oh, you know what? We are the originators behind the blues.
For sure.
If you understand knowledge yourself, you understand our history as black people. And then what I also encourage people to do, especially when we talk about the blues. See, Young Charles, I'm about to pour. God said, drop a seed in Young Charles over here. And you listen to the words, they have meaning. See, it's more so than just listening to the track, right? Listen to the words. See,
Yeah.
literacy can come by way of reading, but it can also come by way of conscious music. And the blues, oh, baby, that was therapeutic for our people. When I say our people, Young Charles, I'm talking our grandparents, our great-grandparents, okay? So that's just a little nugget for you, baby. That's all. What else you got coming up, D-West?
Well, I got May 10th. I got my official pink birthday party, the biggest pink party ever. And Darryl Noodles going to be there. And Charles Schultz is going to be a vendor there. He's going to be selling his bestseller book. He got, hold that book up for a second. You go, babe. He's going to be having his bestseller book. He'll be selling that.
4234 Lakewood, the story behind the glory.
There it is, baby. Built the city up brick by brick, baby.
Don't worry, Charles, coming up, D-West. You better tell me what else you got, Pop. So you got the May 10th, and you're celebrating your 60th.
16th birthday, boy. That what they say, the blessing.
Oh, baby.
Or the blessing.
That's what's up.
Mama, I made it.
That part, baby. Mama. Oh, man.
She looking down on me, too.
Bro.
Biggest pink party ever. I got so many. I got people from Toronto coming and Windsor because I used to do parties in Toronto. Matter of fact, I'm going to give a shout out to the late, great Willie Johnson.
Okay.
He was in 7th Club. He taught me everything I need to know.
Okay.
There's some.
Okay.
So the Johnson family, hey, Jamil Johnson, the kids, Norma. Shout out to Willie Johnson. He used to have 15 buses going. We used to do the Caravana.
Okay.
Toronto, you remember that?
Yes, absolutely.
15 buses and 15 to 10 buses going to Chicago for the Blues Fest and the Taste Fest. Remember, Chicago do the Blues Fest in June, then they used to do the Taste Fest in July.
Yes, sir.
But the big one was Toronto. We had 15 buses, unheard of, going out. But and I had most people from the plant was driving and following the buses.
Oh, wow.
So I can't even count how many people we had. So shout out to the Johnson family.
So we got May 10th popping.
And then we got, then I guess June 7th is my anniversary party. Me and my wife, we've been married 40
You love the
years.
queen. Shout out to the queen, Miss West. How you doing, girl? I love the way, because y'all move like, before, what's that show that came on with, what was it called? Empire, I believe, with Cookie and Blucious. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the real couple of the city of Detroit, man. How many years?
36.
36 years being married to a beautiful woman that, I'm going to tell you, when I came to one of your functions, and I believe I had to cash app you or something, man. And when I tell you, I just sat back and watched how she verified I said, I pray to the good Lord above. I find me a queen to get on my team like Miss West is on this brother's team. You said how many years again?
36. And she the real brains behind Big West Entertainment.
Okay, and the event is when we celebrating y'all in June. What was
June 7th at Focus Hope.
June 7th, Focus
For
Hope.
one.
And me and my queen right behind them. They celebrating 31 in August.
Oh, good.
Black love.
Yeah.
See, and then you know what? You know what God says sometimes, son, you may have a script, but sometimes I'm going to jump in and flip the script. One of the things that I applaud is black love.
Yep.
You know, because if we listen to the negativity that is purposely put out there relative to the disunity within I'm going to call it our community, even though Dick Gregory says something different, but I'm going to say within our race. And when I hear two black men say to me, 36 years in the game, marriage, 31 years in the game, marriage, I tell people all the time, oh no, black love is out there, but you got to get yourself together. And if you got a relationship with God, he'll send you the right one.
That's right.
Proverbs 31, baby.
What does it say?
Him that finds a good woman, he finds a good
thing. Ooh, we, baby, you preaching, see. And that's where we go. D. West, you got anything else coming?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
July 18th and July 19th.
It's been 19. You just a double dose of
Yeah, it's like 3 concerts in 2 days. Shout out to my auntie Carolyn Bonner and Geneva Kennedy. They giving these, and it's powered by yours truly, Big West Entertainment. So July 18th, we got 803 Fresh. They got to sing Boots on the Ground. He will be live performing at Focus Hope July 18th. Y'all better get on that, man. I will have tickets next week.
Okay.
He'll be at Focus Hope. It's him, Magic One, and a few other artists. Tina P, and a few others. And then the next day, we had Aretha Amphitheater for the big boy. We got King George.
Oh, King George.
We got Westlove.
Baby, what?
We got 2 more. And guess who else we got that's going to close the show?
Who was that?
Morris Day and the Time.
Bruh, really?
Yeah, July 19th at Aretha Amphitheater. Y'all better I will have tickets next week. If y'all gonna jump on that, because this is gonna sell out fast. And we got a package. If you buy like the first 5 rows, you get to go to the VIP party, which is with the artists with 803 Fresh, and then you get the concert and the after party. So it's gonna be 3 events in 2 days. You can't beat that deal.
You know what?
Can't beat that deal.
That's why I love this brother. Innovative, thinks out of the box. He got seniority in the promoting game. That's why he moves the way that he
And guess what? What's the number 1 song in the country?
You tell
803 Fresh, Boots on the Ground.
that part.
Number 1 song in the country. And he up close and personal at Focus Hope. You can't beat that. They better be beating my phone up after this interview.
Well, B, you make sure you take care. Noodles is gonna be in the building as always, baby. And you know what? I pay my way in that part, so I'm coming, and I'm gonna tell my dynasty group, look, y'all, the weather might be nice that day. Let's roll deep in them slingshots. Let's pull up on D West.
Do that.
You feel me,
But you know, I have picnics all summer. That's all right.
baby? Come on. What else you got popping before I got?
I got May 4th. I got the Hideaway right there in Southfield, 12 Mile and Southfield Road.
Okay.
I got the Hideaway. It's gonna be a birthday toast.
Okay.
Joe Blankenship and Gary Chandler. What up, though?
Gary Chandler, my father. Who that brother? What I'm doing, baby?
All right now.
Saw good in the hood. You know that. Motherfucker, who that's?
And then August 2nd, I got another event, a big cabaret. Me and Rap Photos. What up, Rap? It was gonna be at Siberia Hall right there on Van Dyke and I've Drive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I got the cabaret there. I'm just not putting that together.
Okay.
So I got that. And then I want to say this about I want to get with the new era of Detroit with Zeke, along with Charles Brooks.
We're gonna make that happen.
I
can feel that plug happy.
He taking care of the city with the crime.
Yes.
And we can take care of the city with the building the city up brick by brick. Yeah. With Charles E. Brooks. So if we come together by us trying to build these houses for these people and him fighting the crime, and then there's other organizations that can get with us too. Not just them. If anybody else interested, just contact either one of us, Noodles, Charles E. Brooks, or me. So we need to get together and have a meeting about that too.
Bro, let me share something with you. See, many of y'all don't understand the definition behind noodles, okay? The definition behind noodles is this. 1, I'm loyal. I'm that foxhole brother you want watching your back, okay? I'm very respectful, okay? I'm a leader. God poured this into my DNA. So what he just said, when I leave this studio, my man just put a challenge on the table. See, this is how you get down and conduct business. This is a lesson for people. Don't just sit and talk about it, be about it.
Ooh, damn.
When I leave the studio, I'm placing a phone call so that I can say, hey, because I got resources. This is what I mean by when I say, don't bring a knife and a fork to the table. Bring resources.
Hello.
Guess what? We're going to be talking to my man from New Era before the day is out.
Big Z, what up, Z?
We're going to take that to the bank because the person I'm going to tap into, she got my back because she know I got her back. D, what's anything else going on, baby? Before
We're
we
in Vietnam. We handed over to Charles E. Brooks because we
hear what? So
hear this story.
let's set this duck up the proper way. As I said earlier, you know, we gave Mr. Brother Charles Brooks a brief introduction, but now we about to shift and put the focus on you because you are deserving of it, man. Let me tell you something. I love watching anybody stand up for what they believe in. I love anybody that don't bow down, that don't cower down to the system when you know the system is doing you wrong. Wanna know why? Because, see, that's in our blood. That's what our ancestors lived. See, when you understand knowledge of self, and here's what I mean. If you look like us, the color of our skin, and then you really study your history versus the indoctrination that was poured into us, because, see, it even says in the Bible, when you thought as a child, you moved as a child. But when you become an adult, you better think as an adult. So Noodles is going to add this, turn that indoctrination into education. So I'm sitting at home, the biggest store in the city of Detroit. I'm sitting back, I'm chilling. I'm hearing about a man. They built a castle. Built the castle in the city in Detroit? Really? The D? Really? And when I saw the video of it, I was like, wow. Beautiful. Absolutely, you know, palatial. I mean, you got space, baby. But see, that's the optics of it. What you had to deal with, and I'm going to shut up here in a minute. I'm just setting the duck up, baby. You had to deal with some things. You had to take on city government. So you know what, Mr. Charles Brooks? But before we chat with you, I got young Charles here. You shared with me earlier. He's on your team. What role does he serve in?
He's my chief of operations.
Mr. Young Charles, so what does that role entail?
Just speaking on his behalf and, setting up things and, doing what he, don't have the time to do. He's a busy man.
So y'all was partners in crime, huh?
Oh, for sure. Young too.
You and your young brothers like yourself, your age? How old are you, young Charles, if I may ask?
I'm 22. I'll be 24.
22 years old. See, this is what I'm talking about. OGs and unks pouring into our young kings. Because too many of our young kings can't be what they don't see. See, did a show yesterday. Young Charles, I'm going to share something with you, bro. You said you're 22?
Yep.
22-year-old executive.
That part, by way of what his dad is building, an empire.
Exactly.
I had a doctor on my show, Dr. Calvin Mann. Shout out to you, baby. Because, see, when guests come on my show, I do my research, and he shares something that young black men between the ages of 5 and 11 commit suicide at a higher rate than we could ever imagine. That's deep.
Deep.
So when I sit here, young Charles, you're 22 years old, you're here rocking with your dad, stay the course. Because unfortunately, you are blessed as a young black king. Because a lot of young men your age, younger than you, because of the example your dad has set, they can't be what they don't see. So I just wanted to give you that spotlight for one second. So, back to Pops. Man, it's an honor. And as I said, let me pick up where I left off at. You know, it's in my DNA. I think it's in all of our DNAs, those of us that are leaders. You know, we will challenge the system. You know, because that's what our ancestors poured into us. Those of us that choose to study, okay? So, with that being said, man, I got a question for you. When did the journey begin for you relative to the whole movement behind you doing what you did in the community, in the city of Detroit? Because you could have gone to the suburb, which I don't knock anybody that has chosen that pathway. But what made you decide, I want to build something here in the city of Detroit? And when did it start? What year?
Let me first and foremost, first words that I want to come out of my mouth before we take to the airwaves, I just want to give honor to God. We have a moment of prayer right quick.
Amen. Let's go.
Father God, we thank you for the moment. We thank you for the hour. We thank you for all that you have done, all that you are doing, all that you will do. Father, we know that you said that you are in the midst of us, Father, and we believe it right now. We thank you for all that you have done, all that you continue to do. We thank you for the miraculous week behind us and a marvelous week in front of us, Father. We thank you. If we didn't thank you a million times, we couldn't thank you enough, Father. Thank you for all that you have done, all that you continue to do. In the precious name of your Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, Father, we thank you, we love you, we appreciate you, and we adore you. Amen.
I receive that, brother. So, giving the audience a little background about yourself. Born and raised in Detroit?
Born and raised, yep, right here.
What side of town, baby?
East side, west side.
East side, west side, east side, west side. What high school did you rep?
Montfort.
Oh, man, you know what?
No stand.
God, I promise you, I'm not going to stay too long, but you know, my heart beats proudly when I'm sitting amongst a Mufford fellow who that. What year, baby?
Well, I did 2 years at Murray Wright,
All right.
and then I polished it off at Montfort.
Okay.
And, from there, I gravitated, but I've been into the construction field all my life. And so part of my life, I lived on the east side. Part of my life, I lived on the west side. The latter part of my life has been spent on the east side.
Okay, so you've been in the news here lately,
Yeah, heavy.
locally, national.
Not globally.
I mean, bro, you are a gentleman that when I listened to you, I said, if I had to take up arms and go support a brother because I felt your passion, I said, oh, you got me up off my couch. I said, let's go. Let's be a part of this. So, when my good friend, our good friend, Mr. Derek West reached out, and he was blowing me up. And I said off record, I don't know if it was off record or not, but hey, whatever. D. West filming us, y'all. I was a little tied up. I was a little occupied. But then when I understood what he was wanting to do, I said, oh, baby, I'm all in. You know I'm creating a platform for this brother. Because, man, you inspired me. Okay? But it ain't just about me. So you started the project building the castle what year? Let's get some context to this.
When we officially broke ground on God's foundation on Lakewood in 2009. Officially. For what you're able to witness this moment or whatever. But I've been on Lakewood for almost 30 years.
Okay.
So, to put a timetable on it, let's just say 30 years, but officially with really breaking things down, 2009, we hit it hard, boots on the ground.
And that's when the vision came to you relative to, let's say, building the castle is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Started in 2009. Okay.
Yeah. We were on our way to Florida for our anniversary. My wife and my son and I and one of our godchildren, we were on our way to Florida, and God spoke to me before we got ready to get on the plane. And I just sketched some stuff down on paper, and he said, when you get to Florida, I'll give you more. And it was also real, because we was actually, my wife had pulled the truck out of the garage, and it was like, he just spoke to me right there, right before I got into the passenger seat. And I'm like, okay. And when we got to Florida, God began to give me things, and I was sketching away and making notes, throughout the duration of the trip or whatnot. And, when we got back home, the Lord gave it to me and said, this is what I want you to do. But prior to that, let me just rewind the tape, because many years before that, in the city of Detroit, I was involved in a carjacking. And I got shot. I got shot in front of 3 of my children, and Charlie was there.
Oh, wow.
So when I got shot, I actually passed away. I got hit in the main artery, and I lay face down on the street for 32 minutes, face down. And I bled out. When the police got there, they put the tape up around my body and told my children that they couldn't do nothing for me because the kids were calling the EMS, but they thought they were playing on the phone. So they hung up on them and kept hanging up on them till one of the kids disguised their voice as an adult, like, hey, someone's got shot, and the police got there. So from the time I got shot to the time I hit the operating table, it was an hour and 47 minutes with no blood or oxygen going through my body. Hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, man. You know what, bro? And that's why your testimony that you just shared, man, there is a God. God had protection around you.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been left speechless on the air. D wants to tell you, you put me in front of a crowd, or I can rock the mic, baby. I tell people, I ain't a preacher, I ain't a pastor, none of that. God's given me a different ministry, but you also have a background in being a pastor. Am I not correct?
Yes.
You want to
As a
share?
matter of fact, I had just stepped away from the pulpit right before I got shot. A few weeks before I got shot, I stepped away from the pulpit because I felt that I wasn't worthy enough to serve God because of my infidelities and the things that I had going on in my life that I knew God didn't approve of, and I just couldn't continue preaching. So I asked God to remove me from the pulpit. And it was kind of funny when I asked him, and he said, well, he laughed. He said, what do you think? I don't see all this? He said, however, you came to me like no other man really wants to come to me. They normally come to me when they get caught. But you came to me before you got caught in the fleshly eye. So I went to God in the spirit and asked him to remove. See, there's two kinds of things, conversations that you have with God. You talk to God in the spirit or you talk to God in the flesh. Right now, we're talking in the flesh because we're human beings sitting at this table. But God said, I know you. I know everything about you, but I appreciate you more now, coming to me now, knowing that you're wrong, than versus something jumping off or something happened, you're trying to clear your name, and you done got in trouble, you done got caught cheating and all that. So I asked him to remove me. So I had stopped preaching right before I got shot. And to fast forward the tape, when the police got there, they put the tape up around my body and told the kids that there was nothing that they could do. So they did call the EMS, but I was laying in a pool of blood face down. Matter of fact, if you look right here on my wrist, if you see that burn mark?
Yes, sir.
That's where I lay face down because I returned fire, or whatnot, to spare not only my life, but my children's life. So my gun was laying on my wrist with the burn barrel. It was hot because it burned my wrist.
Absolutely.
And they put me in the EMS, and it was like somebody tapped me on my shoulder and said, hey, we're going somewhere. And mind you, I had no oxygen, no blood flowing through my body. I got hit in the main artery. By this time, it's about 30, 35 minutes or so. And they worked on me for about another 15 to 17 minutes at the location before they left. And we had a police escort to the hospital. And they let my children's mother ride in the front seat of the EMS. And they were racing to the hospital. And the police were opening up the roadway so we could have a clear path there. And they began to talk back and forth in medical terms and told the driver that they were losing me. And as they prepared to lose me, they said, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. And I said, no, he's not. And a little blood that was left in my body poured out of my eyes and my ears. And I started reciting the 23rd Psalm. And when I woke up 2 days later, I finished reciting the 23rd Psalm. So as they lost me in the EMS, they radioed to the police that they had lost me or whatnot. And then the police got behind the EMS. And so then they just cruised to the hospital. There was no need to rush. They actually lost me in the EMS. And when they got me to the hospital, from what they told me is that they wheeled me in, but they didn't take me straight to the operating room. Where you don't take a man in this condition to the operating room. And there was a lady, we always call her an angel. She said, where's the guy that just came in? He's off to there, pushed me off to the side or whatnot. And she said, well, let me check. And she wanted to check and see. And she came and she pulled the covers back and checked me for a pulse. And she to see if I had a pulse. And she said, hey, he's got a pulse. And he's got a pulse, huh? And they rushed me to the operating table and, had me on the operating table. So I was on the operating table for about 4 hours. And then I came out of surgery.
and they were taking me to the recovery room, and en route to the recovery room, they lost me again. So during that period of time, um, when I woke up 2 days later, I was a John Doe in the hospital, and I was in protective custody due to the nature of the crime. And so none of my family had an opportunity to get there or whatnot. My kid's mother was there, but by her not being my immediate next of kin, since I was married, they kind of like put her out the hospital, and I was in this John Doe in protective custody. And so when I woke up, I'm looking around and I'm like motionless. I got 13 tubes in my body, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm looking around, and there was no one in the room with me. But, me and God had a conversation. And that was after finished reciting the 23rd Psalm. And it's in my medical records. It's like, yeah, the patient has woke up and he's talking, even though I was on life support, I was talking just like you and I. And I was finishing the word of God when I originally left out 2 days ago. And I finished the 23rd Psalm. And me and God had a conversation in that room. And I know it was divine because I didn't realize how much blood that they had gave me. I didn't find that out till like 3 years later. And when I got my medical records, because I wanted to know really what happened. I didn't want to hear a hearsay.
Correct.
But me and God had a conversation right there it was on my deathbed, because I stayed in ICU in grave condition for 5 days because they didn't expect me to make it. And they had ordered 11 and 3/4 of blood, 11 and 3/4 pints of blood. Our bodies hold 10 to 12 quarts from what they tell me.
Correct.
And they ordered 11 and 3/4. And he gave me almost all of it, pretty much the last drip bag was almost done. And so they pretty much gave me all new blood. And there was something that God spoke to me while I was on my deathbed. He said, the blood that's in your veins is not the blood from man. It's the blood that dripped from my son on Calvary. And he said, and at this time, Noodles, I've told this my testimony, and a lot of people don't understand that my family was in there, and it was a conversation that me and God was having, and he said, I'm going to set you up. I want you to do something for me. I said, well, me and God having a conversation just like you and I.
Absolutely.
And I said, sure, what is he said? I want you to go get 3 things for me. I want you to go get my children. I want you to go get the city of Detroit, and I want you to go get the church for me. Bring them back to me because the deeds have been stolen from me. And I said, but no, you don't want me. I'm the biggest whoremonger in town, and I've been doing all this, that, and the other. And no, God, you don't want me to do this. I say, I'm not worthy. Remember, I stopped preaching. He said, no, you're the chosen one. I chose you for a reason. You're the only one that can carry this out for me. I'm like, why? He said, I could have chose any bishop, any entertainer, anybody in the world I could have chose to do this. But you have to go get Detroit, my children, and the church, and bring them back to me. And so as me and God as they're talking, I say, sure. And we kind of like high five, this one, because I was in agreement.
Finish it, baby.
When I say, God, whatever you want me to do, I'm all for it. And he said, yeah, because you're the chosen one. And it was during that time he called my name. And I was just knowing. I said, well, God, I said, can you do something for me? As if you haven't already done enough. I said, I want to walk again. I want to preach again. And I want to pour concrete again. And it was at that time God said, it is so. And so I stayed in the hospital for another 5 days in ICU in grave condition. When I came home from the hospital, I weighed less than 150 pounds. I couldn't walk. To get a full sentence out, it took me about 5 minutes. All of my extremities were open because they had to cut me from head to toe. They cut me from here to here, 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 and had to go in my groin and do this super super surgery or whatever. But I didn't find out none of the aftermath of what I had actually went through until 3 years later, and I requested to get my medical records, and my medical records is about this thick. And when I got it 3 years later, because nobody could tell me the story better than what God had spoke to me and told me, the conversation that we had in there. So when I came home, I was in the wheelchair, and I weighed less than 150 pounds. At the time, my wife and we were separated, and I was going through a divorce. And so there was no one there to really take care of me. It was right. The children were about to go back to school. And my children's mother, who was very dear to me, even though we weren't together,
in the flesh. We've always been together in the spirit because she's a beautiful woman. It's just, I was just a dog, but she always stuck by my side because we have two beautiful children together, twins. And they came there and took care of me just like I was a baby. My children's mother, my other children, and then the whole community pitched in, the neighbors and friends, everybody pitched in to take care of me. So in order to get me a full dinner, so somebody brought the chicken, somebody brought the mashed potatoes, somebody brought the biscuits, somebody brought the Kool-Aid. I mean, they really pitched in to make my life complete, because I couldn't use the bathroom on my own. I couldn't do anything on my own. And my equilibrium was off. My nerves were real bad. And my body still had to accept all of this new blood. And everything had to be, it was a really slow pace.
You know what it is? You know what? It's almost like God is saying to me, you were purged.
Yes.
God sent something out old in you, the blood as you shared, and poured the love of himself into you, my brother. That ain't me saying that. That's God using me to share that.
You know what, my brother? And part of the portion that I missed, but I've told this on many occasions because I'm so filled right now to be able to share this. But during that period of time when I was in the hospital, and God said, when he told me he wanted me to go get Detroit, the children in the church, he said, I'm going to set you up to do something. And what you're going to do is going to seem impossible. And no weapon formed against you going to prosper. I'm going to set you up to do something that the devil will not be. He say, you're almost going to be invisible as you're going to carry out this mission. And that's what I wrote about it in my book. I wrote about it in my book prior to all of what you're able to see on the castle. And God told me right on my deathbed that he was going to set me up for something that the world was going to see. But he also reminded me that what I'm about to set you up to do, he said, I'm going to get all the glory out of this. I will get 100% glory out of this. Yes. And you're the only one that can carry it out. And when you do, it's going to be the biggest thing you ever seen. It's going to be the biggest thing the world has ever seen. And never in a million years did I know that it was going to amount to what we are able to witness today on April 16, 2025.
Amen to that. So, Brother Charles, you know what, man? That story you just shared, that's when you know God is in the midst, we can prepare a run of show, a script. We can, I come from a background where I sell up bullet points. And God say, do away with you prepared. You came on the show today and God said, I'm going to use Charles to be the one that is the messenger. Your testimony was absolutely amazing. Okay. Now, I know we're getting close to time. I got about a few minutes left before they kick me out of the studio. I'm on a fixed income. So, us retirees, we don't, we ain't got that much bread to spread. Sound like a Fast Freddy. Don't it? Share that with Fast Freddy. Shout out to Fast Freddy. What up? There you go. Fast Freddy. He was at the Motor City Sneaker Ball. Much love to that brother.
Hey, Noodles, if I could throw this in there for
He
you.
wants you to.
Charlie was a baby when this happened. And as soon as they got me home, Charlie, because he's been with me his whole life. I mean, yes. Charlie in the womb, he come out the womb wearing work boots. Yeah. And I think he had on Timberlands, if I'm not mistaken.
Forget them old ugly white plastic chair. He said in front of the sun visor, whatever the mirror, he had on Timbos. Huh?
Yeah, so when they were able to bring him to the house, so he seen me for the first time. And remember, I told you all of my wounds were open.
Yes, sir.
And he jumped in the bed with me and jumped on me and say, I'm never leaving my big guy. And I'll never leave you. And he didn't realize that all my wounds were still open, but he was right. I mean, where he's sitting at right now, if we were to split this table in four, he was right behind me in his car seat when I got shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the bullets flying all over the place. And when I took the bullets for all of my children, and he said that he would never leave me, and he's been there since day one, and I've molded him into what you're able to witness today.
Young King, I got to give you a fist bump, baby. Yeah. And that's part of the sermon where we uncles, we unks, we OGs, dads, not fathers, because fathers is the identification on the birth certificate. When I say dads, that's your son. And what you just said was so more powerful. So we got to wrap some things up, but there are some questions out there. Hold on. I'm gonna give you an opportunity, baby. Don't worry. I ain't done with you yet.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a little nosy. That castle you built, how many square feet is that, baby?
We still ain't done yet. I'm still building. I'm still building.
Show it to me, go. How many square feet? You want a Michael Jordan estate? What you doing?
It's probably bigger than that.
Go ahead.
I haven't checked it lately because I'm adding daily to it. I mean, it started out with this house on the corner, one house on the corner, and
And
expanded.
an hour later, yes, sir. I saw that on Facebook today.
Expanded south, and then God took us east. Now we sit on 2 city blocks. It's 2 city blocks. The whole entire state is 2 city blocks, and it's over an acre. And we're building as we speak. I was on the ladder before I came to the studio. I told him I got to get out of here. I got to go on the podcast.
But let me ask you this, Brother Charles. I mean, do you have a limit? Do you want 50,000? You want 30,000 square? What you want, baby? Has God revealed that to you yet?
No, it's like when God tells me to do something and he just says, go do it. I mean, God will wake me up in the middle of the night. And I used to go over in these vacant lots behind the property, and I would go and pray in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, dealing with some of the worst things in life that you could ever imagine. And I was going through it, my brother. And I would be over there in the middle of the night praying in 18 feet of garbage and a vacant house and water running in the basement. I'd be on my knees praying, and God would speak to me. And I'm like, man, what's going on?
So let me ask you this. Is this going to be your ultimate, like, personal residence to reside in?
It's my private residence, also my for my business. So the Castle Estate houses my business, and it's also a place for my family.
Let me ask you this.
Sorry.
'Cause we sitting next to this promoter guy that's sitting next to you. His name is Derek West, Big West Entertainment. Any future players possibly doing some events? Because you obviously sitting on some major property. So is that part of your vision, maybe going forward? I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to get D West a plug. I don't need direct.
We've been talking, especially with the latest episode, and now that this thing is went viral, and we're getting over 1 billion views a week, and then we're doing so much in the community. So there's some things that are coming in the future, and it'll definitely be down the pipeline where we'll be able to share. Because I tell folks, it's way bigger than my home. It's much bigger than my home. And if people truly understand what's going on, if they could look beyond the palatial, the residence, the mansion, the uniqueness of it, and look past there and see the hand of God and see what God is actually doing right there, it would captivate you and take you to another level. Because keep in mind, even though I built that with my bare hands with the help of a few good angels, just as good as one would ride by there and be confused, like, what is this? As I was building it, I was just as confused because God was speaking to me as I was building it, telling me what scripture he wanted here. Put this scripture in stone. Put the blood covering over the doorpost. Deuteronomy 6, verse 6 through 9.
We preach, brother.
God would tell me, and as we were building, my brick masons, we were building, and they would look at me and think I was crazy. And like, if you see the scriptures on the stone, God would speak to me at that time and say, I want the 23rd Psalm right here. And I would call my stone mason and say, make me a stone. And I measure in cubics. I don't measure in feet and inches. I measure like they measured back in the day in the Bible. That's a gift that God blessed me with.
Pyramids got built, baby.
He was a genius. He's a genius.
What we have did, see, there's no blueprint in place for this. We did the things that would satisfy the city to pull the proper permits. But when you're building for God, God does not release the blueprint to the world so you can see what he's doing, what the world can see what you're doing. And as God would have me working on this, I would be doing this. God say, do this and do that. And then he said, wait a minute, I got to cover you because there's some things to come. I want the blood covering over every doorpost. Deuteronomy verse 6, 1 through 9. If anybody knows anything about the blood cover, that no weapon formed against me can prosper. That's why I defeated the city like I did. I didn't have no attorneys. I had the biggest law firm in the world. I think you heard of them before. Biggest law firm in the country, in the world, and it's called the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I couldn't afford the retainer because the retainer was paid on the cross.
Oh, Lord
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Getting deep with it.
That's why a lot of attorneys, they got ready to contact me, talking about they want to fight and want to handle this case for me, but they really don't know how to box against a Goliath, and the city was a Goliath.
And we took the city down this week, and we took it down in record time. Matter of fact, I've been on the front page of the newspaper 3 times in a row, as recently as this morning. We took down Goliath. We took down Goliath. And when I say we, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, best law firm in the world, y'all better get the number and get with them. We got some attorneys that advertise big time, and they charge a big percentage, and they take 33% off of what they get back. But God said, no, honey, I want 10%.
That part. You know what, brother Charles? You know, it's nothing but God, and I'm gonna tell you why. You and I are gonna talk. God said this is episode number 1.
Yeah.
When I say what I'm about to say, because God poured this into me, I had someone cancel. I got another date coming up soon. I need you back. We'd love to have you back.
I'll be honored.
And when this episode is over, we're gonna talk about that date. I would love for you to fill it for me, okay?
Yes.
How do people get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me at on Facebook, Charles E. Brooks Jr. No, wait a minute. On Facebook, follow me on Facebook, Charles E. Brooks Jr. You want to go to my website, you can go to and get this book, Charles E. Brooks Jr. And one thing I want to tell them that you got to get this book because everybody sees that palatial mansion over there, that palatial castle or whatnot, but you got to really understand what it took me to build it, what I went through before the foundation was laid.
So with that, D. Watts, hold on. I'm gonna leave you this because God says, son, I gotta get to the bathroom. D. Watts, you got an event coming up. Y'all two close out the show. Give young Charles the closing mic because I'm just keeping it 100% real. I got a prostate appointment in the laboratory, okay? But I want you to tell him he's gonna be a vendor with his book. And then let young Charles close it out. If I'm back, I'm back. If not, love, peace, no D, no hickers.
For the biggest pink party ever, Charles Brooks will be one of the vendors. And his book right here, y'all. I want everybody, let me turn it around. I want everybody to purchase his book. When y'all come in the door, I'm going to have over 1,500 people there. You need to get this book because we're going to build the city brick by brick. And we need help from other organizations. So May 10th, 8 p.m. to 1 at Focus Hole 1400 Oakman off Linwood. Please come support because we about to get busy. We about to start a movement that's going to be out of sight.
Yeah, because that's what this is about. No block left behind.
No block left
No
behind.
block left behind. We're going to rebuild the city from the water all the way to 8 Mile. And you guys have seen what I've done on Lakewood. You've seen what I've done in the 48224, the 48205, and the 48215. Now, I'm getting up in age, and we need some more help. We need some more support so we can continue to rebuild this city because we shut it down, baby. And if you ain't seen nothing in the last 3 weeks of how we operate in the city or how we operate under the divine unction of a true, almighty, and living God, you better join this movement. It's the largest police movement that the city of Detroit has ever seen. And it emanates right here from 4234 Lakewood. I know we in downtown Detroit, but the new Detroit does not start downtown. The new Detroit starts at 4234 Lakewood. So we want to connect. And like Noodle said, he gonna have me back on the show. And then when they send it over to my son, he gonna tell you my Instagram because I keep forgetting my Instagram, but it's hot, you know. But you can follow me on Facebook, Charles E. Brooks Jr. Go to my website, charlesebrooksjr.com. Now we're gonna turn it over to my son. And like I said, we're gonna close it out. We want to thank each and every one of y'all. We appreciate you. We adore you. And we're taking our city back. And we're taking it back by heavens or high water. We've been counted out long enough. It's time for us to stand up and fight. And if you ain't seen all last week, I've been standing up fighting, not just for myself, but those tears that you seen me cry were tears for everybody in the city of Detroit. Over to my son, Charlie, and he's going to close us out.
Close it out, Charlie.
We're gonna close it out, you know. I don't think I have much to say, you know, my dad said it all. But you know, we want to get a hold of him. Charles E. Brooks Jr. on Facebook, www.charlesebrooksjr.com. Get your book, get your postcards, get your keepsakes of the castle, you know. Hang it up, put it up somewhere on your mantle.
Give him my Instagram, too.
Instagram, Charles.Brooks Jr. Charles.Brooks Jr. with the blue check. And if you can't get a hold of him, you can follow me as well. CJ Armani, CJARMANY, also with the blue check.
Talking about the TikTok, too. We all
The TikTok, you know, Kentucky Castle 313. That's the TikTok. And yeah,
Talking about No Block Left Behind.
nobody left behind. He's seen the shirt he had on, and it's just a movement. So let's get it going.
We about to do that.
So guess what, y'all? It's your guy Darryl Noodles Nolen, and I've taken care of my important business. You know, because when God says Mother Nature must call upon you, you got to follow the script, baby. So check it out. So this has been an amazing. One thing I believe in, and it's all what we discussed. Today has been God's glory.
Yes.
Okay. I'm about managing schedules based on my experience. And I got an open date for you. I would love for you to come back. It's on a Wednesday, May the 7th. You check your calendar later, okay?
Set the appointment with my son, and he'll.
Me and your son, a chat, D West. This part 2, baby. You started out on this journey. You ain't going nowhere.
Me and Big West locked in for life.
Not for life. And me and you got to go over there and check it out too.
That part.
You
So,
come over there.
May 7th, Wednesday, I want us all to meet here for part 2 of episode of Spending Time with Noodles. This has been your guy, Darryl Noodles Nolen, spending time with Charles E. Brooks Jr., younger son Charles, and one of the hottest, biggest promoter in the game, D West. West Entertainment, baby. Stay focused. Follow me on Facebook. There you go, baby. The people have spoken. The champ is here. The champ is here. And you the champ, baby, for bringing us together, doing God's work. Love, peace, don't need no hair grease. You got noodles.